Hello, welcome to the All American Spookshow podcast. I'm Josh, and I'm joined here with Donnie,
Yo,
Tiana,
Hey.
and the Professor Smoke.
what's up?
And we're going to kick off the new year proper with a look back at 2024. That's right, not necessarily what we did here on the Spook Show, but the year of 2024 in horror. So we're going to be running through kind of our own personal top 5 list, what we loved, specifically what we hated, maybe what we were most disappointed in, and then we're going to be taking a little look forward into this year 2025 to see what exactly are we looking most forward to in the coming year in horror. So we'll see cumulatively what we say about this year. Man, I feel on the surface, I'll get the conversation started, that I feel like it was a fairly decent year. So there were some surprises. I feel there's some that there were a handful that disappointed me for sure, and we'll get into that. Donnie, what do you think? Like overall, like everything that you saw, like how did you feel about the year in horror?
Man, I would probably say it was about middle of the road. Um, it. I wouldn't say it was a great year in horror, but then again, I I probably saw about a dozen horror movies this year. I know you guys have seen much more than I did, and I probably I have my top three. I don't have a top five, but I've got a top three. I've got a bottom three.
But that just means you say your top three and then you got to fudge two more. So
Yeah, right.
two more that are kind of like.
Yeah.
Tiana, really, I should have asked you first because you've probably seen more than any of us, like from this past year, right?
Yeah, I've probably seen the most. I don't know how many exactly, but a lot. A lot that I felt like I did pretty good this year watching movies.
And Professor, I think you probably saw more than you remember, if I had to take a guess. But
Probably, yeah.
be like, half of them you just watched them and then forgot about it.
Yeah. But I'm kind of I'll put it this way: the year ended with a bang, and that's sort of a foreshadowing what one of my top ones are. If anybody knows what great horror movie opened near the end of the year, that's a cue there.
Well, that's probably a good place to start because I think I know what you're talking about, and that is the most probably the last one that got released this year, right? At least on a major scale for sure.
So yeah, certainly in the theaters, probably
Yeah.
here.
And that was Nosferatu, which unfortunately, as of the recording of this, I did not get to see. So that might skew my list a little bit. I don't know. I don't.
I don't know. I don't. It's one of those things. It's sort of for some reason it's split with a lot of people. I guess
I've heard
I'm very biased because he's like my favorite modern filmmaker. I guess.
Yeah, I have heard a mixed bag so far about it. Like
Mhm.
I've heard, look wise, it looks awesome. Like there's no one arguing that. I think the story wise is where it's kind of split, right? That's just kind of the feeling that I've gathered just from stuff online.
And yeah. I mean, I guess we'll get into that a little bit in here. Probably not too deep into it, right? Because we'll save that for an actual Nosferatu episode, I guess, down the road, right?
Yeah, and
But
we
yeah,
don't. We're definitely not doing spoilers. This is just kind of general
No.
feeling about movies, right?
Yeah. So we don't want to probably talk about anything related to maybe his looks or his, I suppose.
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of a reveal, right? Because he tried to keep that out of the trailers for the most part.
Mm.
The main reveal of Nosferatu's full on, face or whatever. So, but I know there was I mean, it's been talked about, even though we're not giving away spoilers here, but one particular thing that's been talked about, right, in relation to his looks.
Yeah,
And I don't know yet either, Josh. I guess, right? I don't know if you've tried to.
but I've seen some stuff online of like people talking about like a mustache or something, right? I think.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah. That was the one that was what I was hitting at there. I mean, you can kind of see it in the trailers a little bit after the fact if you're once you realize that he does have it, but yeah.
Mm.
So that's for whatever reason. That's kind of let some people like split over his look or whatever. But yeah, I guess we'll get to that. When we get to
because most people are thinking like Nosferatu, they want it to look exactly like the 1921, whatever year the original silent film came out.
Yeah,
they want it to look like so.
True, but I mean, I can see why he did it just because of the whole Romanian thing. I mean, it's a Romanian noble, had mustaches or whatever. I mean, stick of blood, himself. So
Yeah, but like I guess, Tiana, since you've probably seen the most this year, we'll let you get started. I mean, like as far as your top 5 from this year, and I know there's a ton. It's a lot to sift through. I mean,
It was so
I didn't
hard.
see probably half as much as you did, and I had a tough time with it. But I mean, like, I guess we can start with number 5. I mean, if you have, or do you have them in any certain order? I mean, it's up to you, however you want to present it.
Kind of, but for number 5, it was The Coffee Table,
Oh God,
which was one of the most talked about films that came out, and it was another Argentinian horror, which they're making some good horror out there.
yeah. But and that's another thing too. I think will probably be a little bit of the theme today is that there was a lot of international horror that was really good
Yes.
this year. Like a lot of foreign horror, for us domestically here in the U.S. Like it was a really good year for foreign horror, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another good point.
Mm-hmm. That
Yeah,
the coffee table that is less. I mean, that's horror of a different kind.
yes.
It's
Yeah,
not.
it is.
I mean, not to give too much away, right? It's not supernatural. It's not.
No.
It's not exactly what you think.
That's what I thought it was going to be when you hear about some coffee table or something, that it's about. But yeah, it goes totally different way.
Good Lord. Yeah, and
Yeah.
like that's honestly, I will add too. That's not in my top 5, but I can see why people are talking about it. I can see why. After watching, that is a one watch movie to me. Like,
Yeah.
you watch that one time, you probably never want to sit down and watch it again.
Nope.
It's just okay.
Nope.
And I didn't see it. I guess
Nah,
Donnie did.
yeah.
I guess me and Donnie are probably the only two that didn't see it. I guess
Yeah.
you didn't see it, did you, Donnie?
No, I didn't.
No, I mean,
Well, what? Moving on to number 4. What do you got?
Probably Exuma,
Okay.
Korean one.
Mhm.
Yeah, that really surprised me. I wasn't really expecting too much, but yeah. And then right when you think it's gonna end, it keeps going.
Yeah.
Moving to like further
Yeah. They do have a
territory.
kind of a couple false endings a little bit. Yeah, right. Like that
Yeah.
it keeps going. It is a little long if I'm gonna knock it at all, but
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, it is long. Yeah.
I think that's probably another one that me and Donnie haven't seen yet. 'Cause I didn't see
Yeah,
that
I would
either.
struggle with that.
I wanted you to watch that one. I think you would.
Yeah, I
like
mean,
that
I
one.
would. Those are two of the movies that she just mentioned were her top 5 and 4. I haven't seen, but wanted to see both of them. Just didn't have a chance to get to those two yet.
All right. So what's number 3?
Oddity.
Oh yeah, it
And
took
I
me.
got to see it in the movie theater, so I think that's why it's on my top 5.
Yeah.
Just the whole creepiness. But you guys knew I love Caveat from that
Yeah.
same director. So
Yeah, like I was watching the movie and like I didn't really look anything up because I try to avoid trailers and I only want to know certain things, like who's in it.
yeah.
Maybe. But I hadn't looked anything up on that. And then I'm actually about 25 minutes in, you see that rabbit or that little toy rabbit or whatever from Caveat. I'm like, I paused it. I'm like, wait a minute. Is that same damn rabbit? And then I looked it up. Sure enough.
Yeah, you become the meme and you're like, wait a second.
Yeah. But that I will add too, and we're talking about that a little bit, that one is way better than Caveat.
Yes.
I didn't
And
hate
can't wait
Caveat, but
to
it wasn't my
see-
favorite thing. But this is way better than that.
Yeah.
Mm.
I can't wait to see more from that director for sure.
After that, yeah, I agree. I'd like to see some more from him. So
Yeah.
now we're getting to the nitty gritty here. Your top 2. What's number 2?
Number 2 is Nosferatu.
For any specific reasons, like some of the things that we were talking about, or like you like that, I guess.
Robert Eggers, so I mean, of course, like, I don't get it. But because of the time it was coming out, because of Christmas time, and because of, the name Nosferatu and a vampire movie, a lot of people were going to see it that had no clue how Robert Eggers is.
Yeah.
With his work and stuff. So that's why I think a lot of people are hating on it.
I wonder if I don't know the facts on this yet, but I wonder if it was. I would assume it's probably the widest release he's had. I mean, The Northman.
Mm,
I guess I don't know if The Northman was a full wide release or if it was.
yeah,
Probably, I
think
guess
so.
it was maybe,
Yeah.
but I know The Witch wasn't and The Lighthouse wasn't.
Mhm.
I mean,
Now, if anything comes close, it was The Northman.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think this was definitely his widest release movie.
Yeah. He's got a style that I'm sure Donnie appreciates with that period type stuff. Dude, I mean, like, say what you will, man, he nails that. He knows how to do that. Like, he
Yeah.
can,
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I
definitely. Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
you
you
know,
know, I just struggle with it.
yeah.
He's my favorite. He's the only filmmaker that I really have that I like
You would
these
like-
days.
I think you would like Nosferatu though.
Well, yeah, and actually, I saw. No, this is completely different. It was more of a independent art house type of production. But I saw Nosferatu 1922 sync to Radiohead, which I'm a fan of both. But that was really cool.
I've never actually gone to a theater because I know they do that kind of thing from time to
Yeah.
time, like sync up. What is it, Wizard of Oz with Pink Floyd, right? The Wall.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
stuff like
Dark
that.
Side of the Moon.
But I've
Yeah.
never actually sat down in the theater and seen someone actually do it. You know, so
Yeah.
that would be interesting if nothing else.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, wish you could have, joined me on that. But yeah, it was fun.
All right, so you've already thrown out some big ones, Tiana. So now it's the big one. What's your number one? What's your favorite?
Wonder if you can guess it.
Based on
That
what
would
you
be
said, I
that'd
don't
be a lot of people's number one this year. The
maybe, but
substance.
like based on what you've already thrown out there, I'm not sure that I can. So,
The substance.
oh, okay, well,
Yeah.
yeah.
I wasn't like I didn't look or anything about it or anything, and they were pretty secretive about it. The trailer was very well done. Like it didn't give anything away at all. But me and my daughter went to go see it, and I was like, "Whoa,
Yeah,
that
and
is one hell of a movie."
to the point where like, oh God, I'm blanking on her name. Who's the star? Help me out, quick.
Demi Moore?
Demi Moore. Yeah, like didn't she get some Golden Globe nominations? And
Yes, that movie did.
yeah, it might even get some Oscar noms. You never know, right?
Yeah, it probably will. But the only thing that it's up against is going to be Wicked.
Yeah, well,
So
good ride, substance. It was a nice ride for 5 minutes.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, but still, that she was awesome in it. Even the other lead, I'm blanking on her name too.
I can't.
She's really good in it too, though. I'm blanking on her name, but
Yes.
she's great at it. I'm sure we'll see it here in a minute. But all right, Smoke. I guess that's Tiana's. So what do you got for us? This is going to be slightly different, I would imagine.
well, not too different really though, because I didn't. She's all the movies that she's seen. I mean, well, she's seen all the ones I've seen. I just didn't see nearly as many as her, or probably you either. I don't know what the count was that I saw this year, but I'll start with number 5, and it'll be, I guess, I'll put a Substance at number 5 for me. So I'll start down there. Like I said, I liked it, at least in that, it's good body horror. Demi Moore was great in it. It had a cool soundtrack too, by the way, and we saw it in the theater, so that, I mean, it really helps whenever you have a movie that has cool sound design and soundtrack when you see it in the theater. So, yeah, that's my number 5. Number 4, I'll put Terrifier 3 in number 4 slot. That was one that we all saw in the theater together this year, so that was cool.
Yeah.
That was fun. That was a good time.
That was the first time. Not the first time we've all seen a movie together, but that was the first time we ever went, all 5 of us, including Will,
to the theater.
to the theater and saw a movie together.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
That was an extra added bonus, right?
Yep. Yeah, that was fun to do. It was good. It was a good movie. I thought it was I don't know I guess I didn't necessarily like it better than the second one. Maybe slightly less, a little bit, but I mean that didn't deter from my enjoyment of it. So, and it had some amazing kills, right?
That's
Number 3.
That's what you go see those for.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah, I mean, now if I'd seen more of the movies this year that I wanted to get to, maybe it wouldn't have even made my top 5 necessarily, because I didn't, like I said, get to see The Coffee Table, Exuma. There was a handful of other ones that I didn't see either. But yeah, I'll put that at number 4, and then number 3. So I'll go with Oddity as well. I know that was your number 3 too, I think, wasn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah. So yeah, I got Oddity, and we have already talked about that as far as it being from the same director of Caveat. I mean, I don't remember what I gave Caveat, but I definitely like this one better. As overall, I think it was. And like as Tiana said, I'm looking forward to seeing what he does next too. So, number two is one that we haven't mentioned yet is and we just saw it not well. What was it, how long was it? Maybe a week ago. The Vortelock. It's a French sort of folk gothic vampire tale, and which didn't get much of a. I don't know if it got any theatrical release here. If it did, it was probably art house type movie theaters and whatnot, and or independent theaters. It was good, and not a director that I don't remember his name. I don't even remember his name right now, or whatever. Not anybody that I knew already, or even the actors or anything in it. But I was kind of familiar with the Vortelock thing. And it's have we done Black Sabbath on the show? That Mario Bava movie? We haven't done that yet, have we?
No,
Have any of y'all have y'all seen it yet before?
I have
The
not.
anthology. It's the movie that Black Sabbath, the band, got their name from. They saw a poster across from where they were recording, and it was a theater across the street or whatever, and it was a Black Sabbath poster, and then they decided to name the band that. So a little bit of trivia there. But there was a tale in that anthology about the Vortelock too, which is a folklorish Russian, Slavic folklore of a vampire, basically. And in that particular segment, it was Boris Karloff that played the Vortelock. And but yeah, this one's kind of based on the same material. Family of the Vortelock was a short story novella, whatever, from 1800 and something. I forget right now exactly what year, 1850 something, maybe 1840 something. But it was definitely a different type of movie. It had a lot of dark humor to it as well. So it's one that I'll probably select, or some, if not me or Tiana will probably end up selecting somewhere down the road to do on the show proper. So. But yeah, that was one that I'd wanted to see earlier in the year, and we'd heard about, watched the trailer, and just never got around to it until about a week and a half ago or so. And number one is another vampire movie. It's Nosferatu. So yeah, that was the one I've been anticipating the most all year round. There was a couple other ones I was anticipating. One of them we'll get to when we talk about disappointing movies of the year. So.
Nice.
I think I have a feeling I might know where you're going.
Yeah. That was more when we get to it. That was when I saw the trailer for him. I had been excited since hearing about it being made, but unfortunately, we'll get to that. But yeah, Nosferatu was one that I knew was coming out, and one I'd been anticipating the whole year, and one that I kind of figured, unless Eggers fucked it up totally, which I didn't think he did at all, I knew it was probably going to be up there for me, and that it ended up being my number one. That's different than any of the other variations. By the way, but before we go any further on that, the Werner Herzog's remake, the 1979 remake, I still like it better. Of course, I still like 22 better. I would say the Werner Herzog movie might be my favorite of those three versions, and then the original, and then Eggers. So, but yeah, as far as like this year, it's still my favorite. Just not my favorite Nosferatu take.
Well, it just took 45 years to get another Nosferatu, so at least
yeah,
it's like it was worth the wait.
True, and he changed it up. He made it a little bit different in some good ways. Other ways, it's like whatever. It just at least it was different, than the other ones. So, I'm not saying it's an absolute masterpiece. It's not even my favorite from his either. I think that would be, if I had to rate Robert Eggers' movies, for me, it would be number one would be The Witch, maybe, or The Northman. I kind of go back and forth. They're basically kind of equal to me. And then on the other end would be The Lighthouse, and then Nosferatu. But those are also kind of equal. So it's basically The Witch and The Northman, and then The Lighthouse and Nosferatu.
Well, there you go, Donnie. You said you had really a top three, but
Yeah.
you can't really more than that in there, or what do you think?
Yeah, not really. I've watched a lot of shit this I literally mean it's been I would say for the most part it's been disappointing. As far as I think I know that I've watched most of it in theaters. But I'll just start right at the bottom. I guess bottom of the top. Number three, I got Heretic. I just love the look and the feel. Hugh Grant was exceptional, in my opinion. Nice deviation from what you would expect from his type of roles. So yeah, Heretic is number three for me. Number two, which none of you mentioned, I don't think, In a Violent Nature. Very slow burn, which I struggle with, man, because I can't pay attention, but a lot of people talk about the just how you're just plotting through the woods a lot. But I don't know. I just think that kind of lends to the appeal a little bit.
Yeah.
But vicious kills, which I'm absolutely on board with. And number one,
maybe
Go ahead.
I don't know, debatable. With a couple other movies like Terrifier 3 or something like that, but that's got to be one of the best kills of the year. I think it actually was on like Fangoria or something, right? Wasn't it like the name
I think so, yeah.
the hook?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody that's seen that movie, you know
Yeah.
exactly what I'm talking about. The
Yeah.
hook. Yeah. Good
Yeah,
God. It's
that
at least one of the most inventive we've seen in quite some time. At the
Yeah.
least.
Yeah.
yeah. I also fancy the log splitter, the log
Yeah.
splitter scene too. So yeah, huge fan of that. But my number one is Terrifier 3. Story is not really what you want it to be, but it's a gore fest. I'm here for it.
Well, my list is similar but different in some ways from every one of you. Because I truly believe you're splitting the hairs at number 5 here, because I had In a Violent Nature right outside of it. I've got it as my number 6. I'm just going to call it there.
Mm.
So my number 5 this year, Long Legs, and that's just because it's so different, and it's not what you would expect. Nick, first off, a Nicolas Cage movie, right? Not totally not what, but in some ways, it is exactly what you expect, right? The dude's a little out there, right? But like, I don't know, man. It's just a solidly done story. It's more of a thriller, really. I mean, it's got horror. It's kind of like that Silence of the Lambs kind of thing, where it's like it probably leans more thriller than horror, but it's got a lot of horror elements to it. So but it keeps you sufficiently creeped out. It's just such a well done movie. So I'm gonna make that my number 5. Number 4, this might throw y'all a little bit, but I just enjoyed the hell out of it. This is just, I mean, obviously this is all subjective, it's personal preference, but I enjoyed it. It's not as good as the original. It's not, but I think it was very well done. About as good as you could expect. 35.
Amityville 28.
Exactly.
No. Oh, okay. Or whatever number they're up to now.
Amityville Karen. That's the one. No, Beetlejuice. I had that, and I've got it like ranked. I mean, I'm going solely on like every movie I ranked, every movie I watched this year. I tried to give it like the proper rating, like I would if we were watching it for the podcast. So I'm just going straight off of that. Based on that, I gave it pretty much the same score as I gave Long Legs. So I have to put it there. Man, I just enjoyed the hell out of it. It's got a lot of the same heart as the original. It's not as good as the original, right? But it's hard to beat that.
Yeah.
But for something that you've known 35, 40 years later,
Yeah.
some of the same cast and everything, I mean, I think it still has a lot of heart, and they, it's just so well done.
That's one I didn't catch. I didn't catch Beetlejuice.
And I think anyone that was a fan of the original might be like, it's not as good as that, but you're still going to have a good time with it, And that to me is just as much important on my top 5 list as it's something that I enjoyed. And these movies, I feel like, kind of like I was talking about with you guys earlier, these are kind of the movies that, like, you know what, I enjoyed them. I might even like would go so far as to say I'll buy copies of this to have, like, and put in my own Blu-ray collection. That's what I feel like are the top movies. That's kind of the way I look at it. But number 3 is another one that none of y'all mentioned. Late Night with the Devil.
Oh, fuck yeah.
That is such an awesome movie. I mean,
good
like,
call. I forgot about that one.
Maybe it had been talked up a little bit more, so I was expecting a little bit more, but it's still delivered. It's still delivered because it was. I didn't watch it when it first came out. It took me a little while to finally swing back around to watch it, but when I did, I was not disappointed in it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I know
that's
that was a big
one.
uproar with the AI bullshit in there, but that takes nothing away from it. That's such a small, insignificant part of the movie. Great flick, very well done. Number 2, y'all mentioned it. For me, it's The Substance. That's probably the best body horror that we've had in a long time. I mean, I don't even know what to. Recently, can you think of anything that comes to mind? I mean, you'd have to go back to the 80s or 90s or something, right? I mean, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Not that I'm a big like body horror savant, and I've got this list in my head, but I can't think of anything that's
Well,
quite as nutty as that.
Cronenberg. I mean, it's not as the latest Cronenberg is not as nutty as that was as early Cronenberg, but I can't even think of the name of it now. But we didn't see it
Talking
yet.
about the one that was Cronenberg's kid that did that one.
Maybe it was the son.
No.
No, it was the actual Cronenberg movie, wasn't it?
Yeah, the one about the future, and they do surgeries on themselves.
I can't think of it.
I
It
don't
was
know.
last year though. It came out, right? I think it was
Yeah.
Is it
2020.
Crimes of the Future?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
one. Yeah. But I don't think any of us have seen that yet, right?
No, not
No.
a lot of
no.
people weren't
Yeah.
thrilled with
Yeah,
it,
they weren't too
so-
thrilled. It was body horror, but yeah, it's nowhere near the substance as far as out there. I know that, even not having seen it yet.
Well, it seems like that was earlier this year. The one with that.
Oh, was it? I was thinking it was 23.
No, the one that
But-
Cronenberg's. Maybe I'm just thinking of last
Oh,
year.
the Sun. Yeah, I think it was last year, right? The Sun did.
had-
What was that?
It had the chick.
That was
Mia-
Infinity Pool.
Yeah, Mia Goth was in it, right?
Infinity
That's
Pool
it.
was-
Mm.
Was that last year?
Yeah, that was last year. I think
Yeah,
it
that
ended
was last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Time flies when you're having fun. Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I probably would have had that in this list.
that was good and definitely a body horror type. But this is different. This is more like on the substance is more like on the level with the Fly type.
Yeah. It's like
Oh,
the
yeah.
extreme body horror.
Yeah. But we've talked enough about that. So my number one that has already been mentioned, and I was surprised that y'all didn't. Maybe not surprised you didn't have it number one, but I just thought it was such a well done movie, and that's Exuma. So damn good, and like it almost felt to me like Godzilla. What was it? Godzilla -1 last year.
Yeah.
I just blanked on the name of the movie. Godzilla -1, in the sense that like it's so well done. Like it feels like a top flight production. Like like you've got good actors and actresses in this thing. It's a great script. The special effects are top notch. So yeah, Exuma, by a hair for me over the substance was my favorite.
I'm sure if I had seen it, it would be in my top 5. But
Yeah,
I didn't get to
it
that one. I
really
didn't get to that one.
I really
Yeah,
think
same. I missed it.
Donnie, I don't know about you. It might. You're kind of weird, and like compared to like what I
No.
think you may or may not like. I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe Smoke. Yeah, I think you would love it. Yeah. So there you go. I mean, and there's tons of others. I mean, like some of the ones for me that barely missed the list were In a Violent Nature, Terrifier 3, Oddity, A Quiet Place, Day One. I really.
Oh
enjoyed
yeah.
I thought it was a good prequel follow up to that whole series. I mean, if you've liked the other two, right?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was fine. It was just like it was fine to continue the franchise, but they
See,
didn't.
It does, but it doesn't. Like to me, it's like it's a prequel that tells like a nice little contained story. It's not like it might feel a little bit like hey, you're just making another one to keep this franchise going kind of thing. But like
That's what it was to me.
it's not. It didn't feel like it was like it didn't go down in quality.
No,
Because sometimes you get the third or fourth movie in, it's like, okay, Hellraiser, right? Or whatever, right? What are you going to
you know what? I was
knock
gonna-
this off? That's enough. Knock, But this, like, I felt like, what? I could keep watching these movies if you wait every 4 or 5 years. I could still enjoy them.
It just entered my mind when you said time flies when you're having fun, and I was thinking time flies when you're not watching Hellraiser.
It does. Anything.
It's like, Jesus.
We
So you're
invented-
saying that if you want to experience life a little bit more and have a little bit more, seem like you have a little bit more time on this world, you should just put those Hellraiser sequels on loop.
after like say the third one, just
Yeah, this life will felt like it lasted about 300 or 400 years.
Yeah, we've been at it for what 4 years now, trying to finish
We've
this
avoided
franchise?
it like the plague, and we even just recently invented our first ever winter event to postpone it just a month and a half to 2 months longer. That we'll have to, but it's coming back like a bad penny. It's coming back. A couple others that I had on the fringe. Abigail. It is not top notch fare, but I think it's a lot of fun. It's one of those like popcorn flick type of
Yeah.
a lot more gore than you would think kind of movie. So I had Abigail there. Heretic, Donnie, you mentioned that one. Immaculate, which I just recently watched. Immaculate, and I put on my list, I put Immaculate right beside the First Omen because they are essentially let's just call it the same movie.
Right,
Yeah,
when-
and you have to make sure you watch the First Omen first, because if you don't,
Yeah.
because there was a lot of people that liked Immaculate over the First Omen because they saw that first.
And I can see that.
I don't know why, but
Well, I'll tell you. I think a couple reasons. Number one, it's short. I think
Yeah.
I was paying attention before as the credits roll. It was like an hour and 22. Something
Mhm.
like that. So it's a quick. It doesn't drag. It's a quick hit, Donnie. If you ever want to sit down and watch Immaculate, but
Mm.
that ending of Immaculate is what brought
Yeah.
it brought it up
Yeah.
a nudge for me for sure. Because at that point I'm like, well, this is the first Omen for the most part, and then you get that last 10 or 15 minutes, like, what the
And then it's
hell is going on here? So, okay,
When
I think
the first Omen was last year. That was
no,
last year, though, right?
that was this year.
yeah.
First Omen was
Yep.
this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's 2024. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That
Oh,
came
Oh, then I
out.
probably
Matter
would
of matter of fact, Immaculate and First Omen only came out like a couple weeks apart. Like I
Yep.
think Immaculate came out like in March, and then like early April or something. The first
Yep.
Omen came out. It felt like Canon Films, where they quick, let's rush out this
Yeah.
movie and beat the bigger one that's coming. That's kind of the way it felt in some ways. But I could go
We
on
got
all
to
day.
break
I think
in-
another one that I
You're
really
breaking
like.
in there before Beach Street hits.
Yeah. I'll tell you another one that I really like this year that nobody mentioned: Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire. Now, once again, you ain't touching the first one. Just put that out of your head. But I think for what it was, not as quality as Beetlejuice, but I think for what it was, I had fun with it. So
I got to walk through the haunted house at HHN, and that was fun.
there you go. So now we get to the fun part here. We get to the one that we hated the most. Now, if you've got more than one, feel free. But I think I'm gonna kick this fucker off because there was one. Look, I'll be honest with you. There was actually two. But I think for me, and I only say that because there's like this technicality. One, because it is one of the worst pieces of film I have seen, maybe in my lifetime, but certainly the worst of the year. But I have to put another one right next. It's better than that one, but right next to it. It's a movie called They Turned Us Into Killers. And it is the shits. It is the drizzling shits. It's horrible. And it's got like one of those casts where you're like, you know what, this could be kind of fun because it's got some old I'm blanking on who's in it. It's got some people that you see at horror conventions, that type of crowd. You know, like what is it, Michael Berryman, I think, right? And
Oh yeah.
it's like, hey, let's just grab a bunch of people that you know from other horror movies and throw them in here. Oh my god, it is bad. It is bad. It's one of the worst I've seen in a while. Not quite as bad as my last year's most hated movie, Snow Falls. It ain't far off. It is bad. Do not watch. But as far as like, I got it a little bit better than that, but it ain't much better. And this was a big, I don't know about a big hit, but it was a big release, and that was Night Swim. A movie about a haunted pool.
Yeah, that's also on.
We consciously avoided that one.
We stayed away from any.
It probably would be on my list too if I'd seen
There
just
is
hearing.
there is no redeeming qualities with that movie.
Yeah,
And you know
that's-
me, I'm pretty optimistic. Like I'm glass half full. I'll try to find something. You know, the old joke about the credits or something. No, it's bad. So yeah, I think They Turned Us Into Killers is the worst, but I got to give special mention to Night Swim. They both suck the life out of me. Do y'all have? I mean, Donnie, what do you have?
So my wife and I both fell asleep in the theater during this movie, and we got woken up by the cleaning crew. And that's Maxine. Yeah,
That's your worst.
that would. I mean, dude, it bored. Like we paid to go to the theater, and we went to sleep. There is only one movie that I'll say this in my adulthood, there's only one movie that I remember falling asleep in the theater to. That was Road to Perdition, which is a really good movie. So,
but it is a long, slower kind of movie, so I can understand that.
Yeah, but Maxine, man, we passed out. We weren't even tired. I was just like, oh, fuck this.
All right, Tiana, do you have a one movie that you can say was the worst, or what are you thinking?
Nope. I steered away from them all.
So
a
that means you like
disappointing one. I have a disappointing one, but I
Well,
don't have
you'll
one that I
get
hate.
that in a second, but
I can't.
yeah, so you can't really peg down one that you just hated.
I don't like.
Yeah.
I don't think
But
so.
Smoke, I saved you for last because I figured you'd probably have
Well,
more to
I mean,
hate.
well, I'll put it this: if I had seen more movies in 2024, I'm sure I would have hated a lot of.
Yeah, go watch Night Swim. Trust me.
Yeah, well, if I'd seen that, I'm sure, or even the other one. I remember, I couldn't remember the name of it, but I remember Michael Berryman being in something, but I didn't know that was the name of it. Totally forgot about it. I don't know. We saw the trailer. Or something. I don't know. I saw something about Michael Berryman in a movie
Somebody
this year,
said
so it's probably that one. But yeah, I wouldn't. It wasn't on my radar. What was the name of that one?
They turned us
might
into killers.
Oh, they turned us into killers. Yeah.
How
Oh yeah.
about-
If I'd seen those, I probably would have hated them.
It's the first
too.
time you just said that it just reminded me that there was that movie that we watched a couple years ago called That You Might Be the Killer or whatever it was, and that's
Yep.
so there's something about that phrasing that just it ain't working. Don't do it.
No, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Tiana just mentioned Cuckoo, but I mean, I didn't
Hated
hate.
it.
Didn't hate it. It's just
Went through
wasn't
it.
my thing, you know. Like, but I didn't hate it. It's interesting. I can see why a lot of people like it a lot.
Mhm.
Same thing with Strange Darling. That had a lot of
Oh,
of people loving that one. Tiana liked that one. It wasn't on your top. I don't think it's really a horror though, right? I guess it is.
It's in my
It's-
top 10.
It's one of those weird. It's one of those art house kind of things. It's got horror elements in it and stuff. So,
I just,
but I mean, again,
just so because I've mentioned it, here's some of the actors that are in. They turned us into killers: Scout Taylor Compton, Taryn Manning, Kane Hodder, I've got Michael Berryman. There's a couple. That's the list that I have in front of me. But there's a couple others that are in this that are like the usual horror convention kind of. It's like they all
Yeah.
like decided, hey, let's make a movie together. And no. But yeah, did you peg one down, Smoke? That you think? What do you think?
Not one that I absolutely hate. Like I said, we're getting to the disappointing category in a little bit, I guess. So,
We're
but
about to jump into that.
because I saw even less than Tiana saw the most of all of us. I don't know how many Donnie saw, but I probably feel like I probably saw about the same amount Donnie did, maybe this year of 2024 movies.
Yeah, about a
It's just-
dozen.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I saw a little bit more than
I
that,
bet
but
Professor saw more than that, but he's just forgetting them.
yeah, yeah. So in that case, those ones that I've forgotten would probably be
Yeah,
throwaways. Not necessarily that I hated, because I certainly would have remembered the movies that I absolutely like. Fuck this movie, type thing.
yeah.
And I didn't see any of those this year. Like I said, though, we kind of did avoid the ones that we knew were gonna kind of be that way, And plus, there's some that I didn't see that I wanted to see this year. Unfortunately, didn't get a chance to yet.
Well, maybe that's the natural order of things that need to come out now. So we're just going to go ahead and move ahead to the next question. What is the most disappointing movie? Something you actually had expectations for, and then when you watch it, you're like, fuck, come on.
We're both the
We're
same.
probably the both, and it's the movie that already has been mentioned by Donnie, and the one that he fell asleep to. Him and his wife fell asleep. It's Maxine, because I had really high hopes for that,
Yep.
because I love the first two, right?
Mhm.
Pearl and X, or X and Pearl if you're going in that order. Well, technically it would be Pearl and X, right? But anyway, if you're going
So-
chronology, yeah. But yeah, I was really anticipating this one because of the 80s theme, because this one is going to be set in the 80s.
Mhm.
It's in like Hollywood. So you're thinking all these, school soundtrack cues and all this. And also there was a mention of the Night Stalker that was in the trailer. And yes, he does play a very minuscule part in it. So I just thought that'd be tied into, well, I don't know. I just expected way more out of this movie, especially from the trailer and whatnot. So yeah, that was just disappointing.
I just think it was a hot mess, and it had one of those goofy '90s endings to a horror flick.
Yeah, the ending was definitely not.
Yeah, not to give spoilers, but yeah, you're right. Like that was a whack ending.
Yeah.
I think it's a clean.
just really
Honey, you already mentioned it. I was going to say the same one. Maxine is the first one when I was like disappointing. Oh, it
Yeah.
was the first thing to pop. I'm not even saying it's not the worst, because I
No,
already
no.
mentioned those two, and there's other movies. There's a handful of movies that I'm looking at my list here that I like. That I like Maxine better than those movies, including Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire. I just think it's a slightly better movie, but it just was not what I was expecting. So that to me is what makes it so disappointing, right, Donnie?
Yeah. You also mentioned I'm gonna deviate from this a little bit. I would say, to me, most disappointing, even though Maxine was my worst movie. To me, the most disappointing, because I try to avoid new releases in the theaters because I don't like crowds. So I usually I'll go, a few weeks after, or like a week or so after the release. So I watched this movie, and Josh, you talked it up pretty well. I wasn't impressed with it. Yeah, yeah. No, I wasn't impressed with it. But long legs. Nick Cage is great, but it's just, man.
If you didn't know that was Nicolas Cage, though, you couldn't tell me that you would know that.
Now I'll say this:
that weirdo.
He was great because I didn't know it was him. It's like he did his job. Yeah, and maybe that's that's the appeal. But to me, I wasn't like. To me, it was. I just wasn't impressed with it. I didn't get the hype. Like, what is the hype with this? I wasn't feeling it.
I will agree that in some ways it is not the most original movie, right? Like, it seems to borrow a lot of elements from other movies that we've all loved. Silence of the Lambs, a few others come to mind, but Seven, right? There's probably some other there I'm blanking on, but
oh yeah. Speaking of that, just since you mentioned it, we saw that in IMAX last night in Concord.
There you go. And I'm sure that's 1,000 times long. But I really, I can understand that, though. I can understand that because of the hype, right?
Yeah.
Some movies that people talk a lot about, and then when you finally watch it, like The Coffee Table, where you're like, what the hell, right? Like, I get it. I can understand why maybe some people just really love this thing, but then I'm like, nah, so I can see that.
Yeah, there was a lot of decisive movies this year.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with, I just saw this on my list there that reminded me of what you just said. I saw the TV Glove. That one, if you go type in top 10 horror movies on Google, you're probably going to see that movie on everybody's top 10 or 15 list, right? But not mine. I was extremely depressed after that movie.
That's for a certain audience, I believe.
Maybe, but that's some dark, depressing shit. Like, not even in an entertaining way, not like the coffee table way, but like in the other way of like, God, bring the alcohol, like that kind of depressing. I truly believe, though, in the end, I think this will be one of those years where we look back and we see some stuff that, like, maybe, that will be remembered, like things we haven't talked about, like stop motion.
Oh yeah,
I didn't mention that one too. Yeah, that's definitely
that's just an original weird movie, right? But it's fucking original and just Donnie. Did you ever see stop motion?
No, I didn't.
That's one that you would probably like, dude. I mean, it's a little bit of a slow burn, but I think you would like it. Just the creativity of it, that side. I think you would really like it.
Some of these titles have been spit out. I forgot to really go back and go into this, or I was thinking it was from the other year, because I probably would have put like that movie, maybe would have even been in my top 5. Might have even knocked the Substance out of there for me. And then The Violent Nature, I saw it this year and I knew it was this year, but I sort of forgot about it when I was putting together that top 5, because I probably could have also put it in there, maybe, in place of Oddity or whatever. So there was a lot of movies that are like kind of, those last bottom 4 and 5 for me, it probably could have been swapped out with, like I said, any of those 2 movies I just mentioned.
Yeah, and I want to mention another one. I should have put it on my top 5 instead of Oddity, but I really liked Oddity. But this one that we just watched, it's a French Canadian film. It came out, I think, the end of last year, but it was just doing like the festivals and stuff and all that. But it's called Red Rooms, and it just blew me away. And that's like one of a lot of people's top 2.
Okay.
It's still only available to rent, so I had to rent it, but it's so worth it. It's about this girl that's like obsessed with a serial killer, and she is in a courtroom for this court case and all. But it doesn't show anything.
Yeah, it's kind of like a snuff,
about
like a serial killer snuff filmmaker kind of thing, without showing the exploitation. It doesn't show
it into your head.
Yeah, it's more of the psychological type horror. Even though what he did was like terrible, they describe things and whatnot, but they don't like show you that, because they're not trying to go down the exploitation path. They're trying to keep it more like the psychological.
But yeah, I figured that was worth I
That
think
sounds.
nobody's ever heard of it. It's definitely worth a watch.
I still got some stuff on my short list of like, shit to clean up and, before we move into 2025. But I think that's a good segue because this last little bit, we're going to talk about maybe what is our most anticipated. Now, I actually pulled up an article that the Hollywood Reporter had put out of like just the most anticipated movies of 2025. So there's a lot of like Superman's coming out, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But there was a good amount of horror that I thought was interesting on this list. And here's some of the ones. Now, you tell me if you guys are looking forward to these or not. And I guess only time will tell, right? We'll fast forward to this time next year and see how well this all went. But these seem to be the ones that maybe people are looking the most forward to. We've got Presents, and some of these are coming up here within the next month or so. Presents. We've got Wolfman, which I assume is some different take on the Wolfman, right? Like,
Yeah.
not necessarily here's a remake of the original Wolfman, Lon Chaney and all that, but a slightly different take on that, right? I believe it's what that's going to be. Companion. Another one has something to do with Stephen King. It's called The Monkey. Sinners. This one just has an awesome title. The Woman in the Yard. I would say this is probably pretty high on the list of most anticipated. 28 years later. This is the follow-up to 28 days later, 28 months later, right? I think it was.
Yeah, I put that in there for maybe not my top, but in there in the top 3, maybe most anticipated for that year.
Yeah, you were right, Donnie. It was 28 days and then 28 weeks. They skipped months. They just skipped months and went 28 years later for this one. This, Tiana, I know this one's high on your list. Megan 2.0.
I've never even seen the first one.
If we'd have done this thing, the most disappointed or whatever, yeah, I think that would probably. Oh, actually, you know what? My expectations were pretty low. It was fair. It was fair. This okay. We'll see. We'll see about this. It's an untitled sequel. It's just I Know What You Did Last Summer sequel. So apparently that's going to be a thing at some point this year. I Know What You Did Last Summer. Donnie, this has got to be high on yours, dude. The Conjuring: Last Rites.
Wait a minute, I thought they were done.
I hope it's better than the last one because that one disappointed me.
Weren't they
so
supposed to be
bad.
done with it though? Or no?
I think so. I think because people were disappointed with it, then they decided to, well, let's do one more.
Yeah. I think from what I understand, this is supposed to be the last one of the main story. They're not killing the Conjuring universe.
Yeah.
We're not that Lucky Smoke. They're not killing the Conjuring universe, but I think this is the last one of that main with the Warrens or whatever.
That would be one of my
zero hope that it won't.
Yeah, zero expectation, or not expectation, but what do you call it?
Yeah,
we watched all of the Conjuring movies, I think, except the Nun 2, right? We still haven't got to that one.
Yeah, we haven't got to that one, but Michael Chavis
sometime in 2025.
Yeah, Michael Chavis directs again.
Oh, really? He is the director of that one?
Yeah.
Oh, joy.
When did they do a Crying Woman Part 2 or whatever it was? No
shit. No, you mean Curse of La Llorona?
La Llorona, yeah. Oh yeah, so I was calling it.
I don't know. Crying Woman.
Yeah. No, that's the sequel.
That's what it is.
The Crying Josh. That's what it is. We've got The Bride, which is supposed to be like a weird kind of take on the Bride of Frankenstein.
Yes, and Christian Bale is Frankenstein.
There you go. So it's The Bride. The title is The Bride! ! So we'll see if that's. You've got Donnie. Here's another one for you, dude. Man, it's going to be a big year for Donnie. I can already tell. The Black Phone 2. God damn it. Coming this year.
I love the first one, but I don't know about the second one. I'm like, where are we going to go with this?
Well, because of all the money it made, there was bound to be a sequel.
Yeah.
There you go. That's the secret sauce there, Smoke. Now, this one I've got some hopes for. Not like the highest of hopes, but we'll see. Predator Badlands. I think it's supposed to be kind of a continuation of, in some way at least, of Prey, right?
Is it the same director?
I'm not sure. I don't have that, but maybe.
Yeah, Dan Trachtenberg.
There you go. It's okay. So I think we can appropriately look forward to that then. As long as they don't mess with the stew too much, right? two more that I found, or at least were on this list: Death of a Unicorn, and
Yeah, it's A24.
I believe
Yeah.
so,
I believe it is. Yeah.
and Frankenstein, and then this will be
Del Toro.
Yeah.
Pro.
Del
Toro.
Toro.
That one is
That
definitely
one-
one I'm really looking forward to, anticipating
And
that.
they're saying right now, as far as right now, still it's just going to be dropped on Netflix, and I'm kind of disappointed in that, but we'll see.
Oh, that sucks. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the world we live in. Who knows, though? I mean, like, especially, I'm assuming that will probably be, we'll probably be talking about that exactly a year from now, similar to Nosferatu holiday release, maybe. So let's just say it straight to Netflix. They might have a short run, theatrical run, just so they can make it like
Yeah.
Oscar,
Mhm.
right? If they feel that, it might have a running.
Mhm.
Who knows? Who knows? Well, only time will tell. But so, what do you think? You think that Frankenstein might be the most anticipated? I mean,
Well, there's that, and then the one that hadn't even been mentioned yet, and I can't remember the name of it.
the movie that no one knows. I'm looking forward to that.
The one that's set in like I guess like early 1900s, late
Oh, you're
1800s.
talking about the one that just came out already?
Yeah, but
The
it's not.
Dam?
Yeah, The Dam,
It just
came out.
Yeah.
There you go.
but it's not theatrical, right? Or not?
Oh,
Or
yeah,
it is.
yeah.
Okay. Well, shit, we need
Yeah.
to see it then.
Yeah, it is
Oh, we
in
need to see it
theaters.
this time.
You don't have to anticipate it anymore, Smoke. It's here.
No, it's here.
And usually, you know how the January horror movies usually are crap. Well, this one's getting a lot of buzz and praise, so
I,
definitely gonna watch that.
I inadvertently watched the trailer and I'm just like, nah, I'm staying home. Yeah.
Any
It's like one of those winter. Nah.
Well, there we
Yeah.
go. I think there's a little flavor for everybody. I am not. I mean, the one I'm least looking forward to is Megan 2.0. Why the hell? Well, I know why, but no,
Yeah.
You know why?
I know why, but no. Come on. And I'm hoping some of these other ones surprise me. I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to Frankenstein, that new Predator. That has interest to me.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Conjuring, any of the Conjuring movies have some level of interest to me until you see them. Right. At least the last handful. They're kind of
Yeah.
a little disappointing, but
Well,
we'll
you
see.
know who's doing the monkey, right?
I went to the theater a couple days ago to see something, and I saw a poster for it. Now I'm blanking. I know it's got something to do with Stephen King, right? And there's some others.
Yeah, it was a
That's a short
short,
story
but
from.
Oz Perkins did it. The
Ah.
guy that did Long Legs.
Okay,
Yeah.
there you go, Donnie. Got that long legs hook up.
Since
Yeah,
you
we'll see.
like Long Legs, Josh, you need to check out his other film. What was it called?
Killing of a Sacred Deer. I think it was.
No,
No.
he didn't.
Oh, he didn't do that one. Oh shit, I don't remember.
That's the only movie I.
I can't
I don't
remember
remember.
about it.
Was it
Oh,
I Am the Pretty
you-
Thing?
I didn't even know. Yes, he did do that. And Gretel and Hansel, he did.
Oh yeah, we saw that in the theater, but I need to go back and revisit that.
Okay,
one.
I just remembered it. The Black Coat's Daughter.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Mm.
That you'll love that, Josh. If you love Long Legs, it's kind of like that same kind of creepy shit.
Well, there you go. I'm in the creepy shit, so I'll have to. Stick. Well, I guess that's pretty much that'll put a bow on 2024. I mean, I think overall, I really think that was a pretty solid year. A handful of disappointments, but I think we got a handful of gems in the end. Some that will be favorably looked upon for years to come. So hopefully 2025 is at least this good, right? Hopefully for Smoke's sake, so he won't go insane and kill us all. It doesn't go downhill.
Well, there's no Robert Eggers movie in 2025, but we'll have to take whatever.
Doomed. All right, so that's it. Next week we'll be getting back to the movie reviews. Oh, and most importantly, Donnie, we're starting the new winter event. We've been talking about it, and we're finally here. We're going to be calling this event Polar Predators. So basically, for the rest of this month and all through February, here on the podcast and over on Video Vortex and Grindhouse Gutter on our YouTube channel, all the movies and stuff that we talk about will have something to do with snow beasts, snow monsters, yetis, however you want to phrase it, polar predators, right? And that's kind of the theme of what we're doing for the next couple months. So we're going to be getting that kicked off with Donnie's choice. And Donnie, what are you bringing for us?
Bringing the going back to, we covered this in Hammer Horror and Order a while back on our YouTube series. Bringing the Abominable Snowman. That's also the first time I've been able to say that right without flubbing it. So, yeah, from 1957, I believe.
Yep. And and if you're interested, you can hang around here on our or go check out on our YouTube channel. We do have that episode. I believe it was Hammer Horror in Order, episode number 5. So that'll kind of give you a taste of what we kind of felt about it when we first watched it. Believe it or not, that's been 2 years ago that we watched that.
Yeah. That's weird.
I mean,
Yeah, that didn't
I feel like it's been that long ago, but when I looked at
Yeah,
it, that
that's
came out
crazy.
almost exactly 2 years ago. It came out here on the YouTube channel, so you can go check that out. But yeah, we're going to be talking about that next week and take the deep dive and kick off our Polar Predators event. So, for Will, who couldn't be with us, Donnie, Tiana, Professor Smoke, I'm Josh. We are the All American Spook Show, and we will talk to you next week for the Abominable Snowman.